started. Bam. So, what's up, everybody? Tessie 25. Stay on the live, and I'll have you join. In a little bit. Hopefully, you stay around. At the end of this broadcast, I'm going to allow people to join. Um, Bug says Trump set it up. I doubt that very highly, but we're going to get in. We're going to get into it anyway. All right, let's go here. Let's go here. How y'all feeling though? How y'all feeling on this beautiful Sunday morning? Trump assassination attempt. So yes, let's see who else is on here right now. What's going on, everybody? What's up? Thank you, everybody, for joining. Let's go. All right. So, for those of you that may not be familiar, yes, Brinker says Secret Service gave it a go, but I ain't ready for no civil war. Yesterday, there was an attempt made on President Trump's life, and the shooter was fortunately killed, and a lot of people have different perspectives on it in terms of how should I say this? Some people are wondering, like, how can this happen? How can Secret Service allow this to happen? Others are saying that it was a setup. Others are saying that this is a publicity stunt, and I'm going to give my perspective on that. So let's get a basis of where we're at. Where we are at currently is, let's share this real quick. I got people hitting me up saying that they want to get the link for the stream. There we go. So yesterday, I'm sitting down chilling, and before a summer celebration, and I look on the news and I see these pictures of President Trump, and that there was an attempt on President Trump's life. So I go online real quick, and I go look on PBS because they were live streaming his rally at the time. I go on the stream, and all of a sudden I hear the pops, right? I heard the pops. I heard the pops. Pop, pop. Then you see President Trump grab his ear, and you see him drop down to the ground. And I'm like, yo, this has not happened in American history in a very long time. So let's go into that. All right. You have an attempt on the president's life, and then you just see them like just kind of all huddling over the president. And you're like, shouldn't you be moving them, right? Shouldn't you be moving them? You know, we've all seen the movies where they got presidents, and all of a sudden you see Secret Service grab them and run and rush them into the car. And you didn't see that in this particular time. What you saw was chaos, right? All of a sudden, you hear the shots, you see President Trump drop down to the ground, and then you see Secret Service just kind of swarming. And they're trying to get coordination of what the hell is going on, right? Because you don't want to move the president into an area where he's going to be in even more danger. So you see them, they're trying to get their coordination, they're making sure that he's all right. So while he's down there, what they're doing is they're doing this check on him, making sure that he's good. They see that he's got blood, but they're doing this check on him to make sure that he doesn't have any holes in him, right? That's combat medicine 101, right? You're checking him to make sure that he's good. All right, he's good. Can he get up? Okay, he can get up. And you hear President Trump talk about, let me get my shoe. Let me get my shoe. All right. Now, you're getting ready to move President Trump, but you're trying to make sure that the threat, whatever was shooting, that the threat has been taken down. And you're seeing them for a couple minutes try to get their stuff together of literally getting the president out of there. And a lot of people would say that, you know, like that was very unprofessional, that how could they allow this to happen, that, you know, Secret Service is usually more highly trained than that, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. Let me tell you that Secret Service is highly trained. And anytime that you're on a presidential detail, Those people are highly trained. The problem becomes is when real life actually hits you. So it's one thing for you to train for a particular situation and you're like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. It's another thing for you to actually be in that situation, right? I heard Candace Owens talk about the lady who, the Secret Service agent who couldn't get to her gun, and you see her like fumbling with her gun. And I'm like, that's funny, because when stuff actually happens, like, those are the things that goes on. And the reason why you train is because you want to do as minimal thinking as possible. You want all of it to be instinctual. That's why they train. Okay, make sure so when it actually happens, you're not thinking, you're just literally falling to the level of your training. There is a saying that you do not rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. Very rarely do things happen and people rise to the occasion. It happens sometimes, but a lot of times you fall to the level of your training. So now, they got the president, they're swarming on the president, and President Trump was a G, was sitting here like this. Coming out. And you're watching how they're getting him into the car, and they're fumbling and trying to get him to the car. Why? Because this is a very scary situation. One, that if somebody just shot at the president, right, they'll shoot at you. Point blank, period. So not only do you have a job to do, but self-preservation is coming in there. And that's part of where your training comes, of putting of that natural human response to want to protect yourself, to want to keep your own self safe, and now you're literally putting yourself in harm's way. That is a natural human response that you have to train yourself out of. So now you got the president, and you're trying to make sure that you can get him to the car, and you're rushing him to the car, but you have a job to do. And there's other people who have jobs to do. You got the counter assault team and the counter sniper team who's supposed to be taking care of threats. And once you heard those shots, you heard that counter sniper team on it, right? But when we talk about training, we have to recognize that you can only train for real life so far. And how it is in the movies is not how it is in real life, right? We had Jedediah saying, was his ear really grazed by a bullet? If so, the target was a headshot. Definitely was a headshot. And I can tell you that at 148 yards, right? At 148 yards, should you be able, if you are a marksman worth your salt, right? A marksman worth your shot, you should be able to hit a target this size, right, from 148 yards. From 148 yards, you should be able to do that. The challenge is can you do that under stress? Can you do that when your heart is beating, when your adrenaline is pumping, you're getting ready to take a shot at the president, and you're about to be in history. After you do this, there is no going back. And you take that shot. Boom! And because of how Trump was sitting, I literally think that because of where the shot came from, because the shot came at an angle. It wasn't direct. It came at an angle. What happened, what I believe in my analysis was that, so Trump is like this and the shooter is this way, right? The shooter is or is he this way? Because we saw it like this because we didn't see it, right? Trump does like this, and finally when Trump is basically in line with the shooter and the shooter is in line with Trump, that's when he decides to take the shot, and that's what grazed his ear. That's how his ear got grazed, right? We had Jakai said they were already locked in on him and waited till his first shot. Trump was supposed to die. Ooh, I don't know. He said he felt the skin rip, so it grazed. If he was facing him on, it would have been different. You're missing what I'm saying. If it was a graze, let me help you understand something. Somebody is shooting at you, right? Somebody is shooting at you. In order for them to graze you at your ear, you have to be facing them. He was hit twice. One is his body armor. See, that's where I'm trying to get the conflicting reports of whether or not he was shot twice as well. He was hit twice. You know, some say that he was hit twice and one hit his body armor. I'm waiting to hear more confirmed reports. I have seen some of the pictures, but I'm waiting to hear more confirmed reports. But for those that don't understand ballistics, right? If he wasn't being hit, if he wasn't being shot, right? If he wasn't being shot directly on, then you would have something, you wouldn't be getting a graze. You'd be getting actual hit. What I believe from my analysis is that when Trump turned, he was actually directly in line with the shooter. And so that's what allows for him to get grazed, because otherwise, if Trump would have been facing straight, then it wouldn't have been a graze. The only way that it could have been a graze was if Trump's head was turned, right? So that's that. That's that. Folks are saying that it was staged. I don't know. I don't know about all that. There is something that is said that don't lend to conspiracy what simplicity has a better answer for. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So let's go back to training, right? Let's go back to training. So everybody's nerves are off the charts right now, right? Everybody's nerves is off the charts. Why is everybody's nerves off the charts? Because the thing that you thought would never happen has just happened. The last time there has been an attempt on a president's life like this was Ronald Reagan in D.C. at the Washington, D.C. Hilton Hotel. That was the last time that an attempt on a president's life was made like that, right? So now, all right, you got him in the car, and it takes you 3-4 minutes. I got to see how long it took again, right? Takes him to get off, right? Now, people are like, how could this scrawny kid named Thomas Matthew Crooks, who I believe is 18 years old, right? Who's 18 years old, how could he get on top of this roof and take aim at the president? Easy answer for that. Lapses in your operational plans, and the difficulties that come with coordination, right? Once again, this is not the movies, right? Maryland Map said a law enforcement officer on TikTok says anyone hit in the ear but like that would have had hearing loss. There's combat veterans who would beg to differ. So I respect that, but there's combat veterans who would beg to differ. So how does a 18-year-old come into an area like that that's supposed to be secure and get there and get on top of a roof to take aim at the president? Easy. Lapses in operational security. Easy. It is not like it is in the movies. These are real people. These are people who are stressed out, who are overworked, who it's their job, right? It's their job to protect the president. However, we're still dealing with people, and people are not perfect. You can have the perfect plan, and because it is made by people, there are going to be lapses in it. You can have the perfect plan, but does that mean that everybody is going to operate according to the plan? There are security plans. How do I know this? How do I know that there are lapses in the security plans? Well, there was a time when I was in Japan, where I was in Japan last year, and I was at the President Biden's press conference. I didn't have credentials. My Marine cousin said, as a Marine, I beg to differ that operational security was an accident. The training that you go through, nobody does security like the Marines. Nobody does security like the Marines. If you tell the Marines to secure a place, that means kill everything that's in it. So the Marines are one thing, right? But I'm gonna get back to what I was saying. How do I know that there are lapses in operational security and in your operational plans? Back when I was in Japan, back in 2023 in Hiroshima, Japan, um, I walked past Japanese police and Japanese security. I walked into the hotel. Was I got scanned in by Secret Service. Um, I got scanned in by Secret Service and got was waved in by the Secret Service that were guarding the doors. Right, that was guarding the doors, and here it is. I'm sitting with all the rest of the press, but I'm not press. I'm sitting in President Biden's press conference, and I'm literally 25, 30 feet away from the president. Literally, right? So you have plans, but there is always, 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 always a way to either circumvent it. There's always going to be a hole. There's always going to be a leak. Remember a few years back when there were people who were taking pictures with the Obamas, and everybody was trying to figure out who the hell these people were? Same thing. Same thing. Tussie says, where was Secret Service? The young boy had to carry a huge weapon. Someone had to see him climbing with that weapon. There were people who saw him climbing with that weapon. And mind you, that doesn't necessarily, that somebody said the guy wasn't in the secure area. Let me tell you, all those places is part of a, not necessarily a secure area, but an area that is under surveillance, an area that is supposed to be under, it's part of the area of operations. Let's put it like that. It's part of the area of operations. That's the reason why, okay, the moment that you hear the shot, now you're able to get, now you're able to get the counter sniper team to be able to lock in on them so quick. Some say it's a setup. Cool. That's fine if you believe that. I'm not going to dispute that. What I'm going to say is that, look, this is how things are supposed to work. This is how things actually happen. What's going on? Calculated chaos. What's going on? So you got this young boy. You got this young boy, and according to one of the eyewitnesses, is that the guy had more of a ranch rifle than it was like an AR-15. So, you got this 18-year-old that's getting ready to climb up on top of this building, and he gets on there, and now he's lining up his shot. Well, there were people trying to warn the Secret Service and trying to warn local police that, hey, there's a guy up here that shouldn't be up here, that's up here, right? People are like, well, why wasn't anything done about it? Coordination difficulties. Let me show you how this works. Secret Service has their own communication channel, right? They have their own communication channel, and then the police have their own dedicated communication channel, and then the state police has their own communication channel, and it's trying to get everybody kind of coordinated in that one thing, so that when something happens over here that Secret Service is responsible for, that they could contact the state patrol or the state police or the local police to get on, or vice versa, that there's state police or the local police have been alerted to, and being able to relay that message to the Secret Service. Like, there are a lot of moving parts, and people just don't realize that that's why things like this can happen, and why it is so important that we as the American people recognize what actually happens and what can actually happen. So let's go on. Let's go on. So we talked about how this could happen, right? You could say that it was all a setup, and that it was staged. You can, right? Let's put it like this. I am neither a Democrat. I am neither a Republican. I am an independent. I am a patriot. And I am someone who loves America, loves this country. And we should not be, we should be making factual statements we should be looking at the facts, not going off of just how we feel. Fly Sexy Lil One said someone did see him crawling. Exactly. I saw that report earlier as well. Was the young man's involvement with the Republican Party? I heard something about that. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. The fact is he made a donation to Act Blue. So you can say that you're a registered Republican, right? You can say that you're a registered Republican, but you as a registered Republican are making donations to Democratic candidates. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. But once again, I'm gonna get back to what I was saying. I'm neither a Republican. I'm neither a Democrat. I've met with Donald Trump. I've been at President Biden's press conferences and said facts are facts. There's no way the Secret Service didn't see that shooter. No way. Okay. All right. For everybody saying that there's no way that you couldn't do that, tell that to your girlfriend or tell that to your wife when you miss something and you got your mind focused on something else or you're preoccupied with something else. Point blank, period. Neither Republican, neither Democrat, right? So for me, I want to have a full understanding to be able to communicate this to my audience, to all of y'all, that like, yo, don't get caught up in all of the riffraff and all the conjecture. Like, let's look at this as rational adults, right? So shooter's name, Thomas Matthew Crooks, and he shot at President Trump from 148 yards. Like I said, any shooter worth their salt, should be able to hit a target at 148. Should be able to hit at 148 yards, point blank, period. But once again, that's not doing it under stress. That's not doing it when your adrenaline is pumping. It's totally different. Until you have been involved in some stuff and you've watched your training just fall apart on you because you didn't know how to train for not only stress, or we call it stress indoctrination or stress inoculation. Until you've been in those kinds of situations, you don't understand how things fall apart, right? You don't understand how things fall apart. Marie said AP is reporting that Trump was hit by glass from a teleprompter, right? Yeah, okay. Either way. Either dude was missed on his shot. He missed on his shot and only nicked him, or he missed on his shot and he hit the teleprompter and the glass hit him. Either way, you just took a shot at the president. You got lucky that you didn't hit him, or Trump got lucky that you didn't hit him. Either way, point blank, period. Jakai said proper breathing control is essential to shooting. It absolutely is. But once again, tell that to somebody when they're getting ready to take a shot at the president. As much as people want to say what they would have did in those situation and all of that, when it's all on the line and your adrenaline's pumping, your breath, you can't catch your breath and all that, trust me, all that stuff goes out the window. So what does this mean? What does this mean, right? What does this mean? We can argue about whether it's a setup or any of that. What does this mean in the aftermath? You did not see fear in President Trump's eyes. You did not see fear in President Trump's eyes. In fact, you saw the exact opposite. You saw defiance in his face, like, hey, y'all tried to kill me. I've been saying that y'all been trying to kill me, that y'all are going to go after me, and he stood tall, right? If you've ever been shot at, if you have ever been shot at, it is not a fun time. It is not a good sensation. It is not none of that. It is not fun when you think that you're getting ready to die. It is not fun at all. And so to be able to keep your composure in those kinds of events, in those kinds of situations, says something about the resolve of a person, right? Said even with all that, he was hit in the ear, not by the foot, by actions from someone else. Absolutely. He said you can't see them projectiles. It's not Nerf. Thank you. Thank you. Little someone wants some attention. You know, it's all good. It's all good. What is the aftermath of this though? What's the aftermath of this though? Trump is going to rise in the polls because it's like one thing. It's one thing. Somebody gets shot at, and you see the way that they handle themselves after that situation, and it's like, yo, I don't know if I would have been able to stand tall and not be worried after something like that. And think about this: as a president, you know that people hate you. You know that people don't like you. You know that people wish you harm. People wish for you to die. And for now, this to actually happen, for this to not actually happen, and people are talking about he sets this up. All right, for everybody that's been saying that, oh, he set this up, okay. Why is it a setup when it happens to somebody that you don't like? And then why is it a freak coincidence or a freak accident when it happens to somebody that you do like? Like, with all this that people say that he set all this up, I don't know who's going to I don't know who's going to put their life in somebody's hands that much where you can take a shot at me. You can take a shot at me. And that happened. That is go after a headshot is something that in the shooting community is called a low probability shot, right? You have a higher probability of getting hit in the chest than you do getting hit in the head. And that's why more skilled shooters go after the head, right? Once again, for somebody saying that Trump set this up, like, would you let somebody shoot at you? Would you take that risk with your life? Would you? I wouldn't. So that's the problem that I have with all this. That's the problem I have with this. Michael said Trump tried to steal an election. He initiated an insurrection. He was the kind to stage it. I don't know about all that, brother. Tried to steal an election. That's being litigated. He initiated an insurrection. That's being litigated. So case is still pending. And he was the one to try to stage it. It's the way it all happened that some of us have questions. Great. You should have questions. That is the thing. The questions that you should be asking is not whether he staged it. The question should be asking, why is it that Trump's security detail is not as strong, is not as prepared as I would like for him to be. That's the question you should be asking. The other question you should be asking is, how is it that why wasn't Secret Service had more people posted up around those particular areas? Those are questions that you should be asking. What the Duck Saw said, his security detail overlooked a very open vantage point. Complete failure on their part. Thank you. Failures. They were failures. Doesn't mean that it was on purpose. It means that it was a failure. The security detail knew what was going to happen. How can someone be post? Just trying to tell y'all, you think that things are perfect? Do you think that things are perfect? It's like when you grow up and you realize that your parents were just trying to figure it out. But when you're a kid, you think that your parents know exactly what it is that they're doing until you become older and you find yourself in those same situations and you realize that they didn't know what the hell that they were doing, that they were figuring it out as they go. Same thing. Realistically, shoot anywhere. There's vitals all throughout the body, could bleed out. Thank you. Once again. So whether it was set up or not, I'm not getting into all of that. I just think that before you start saying that someone set it up, I just ask the question, would you Would you? Would you? The realist CC said, yeah, but they weren't prepared on January 6th. Let them tell it. Remember, they were miraculously were off duty that day. All right. If I were going to hold an insurrection, would I want everybody off that day? Yeah, maybe. Absolutely. Um, um, would I? That's one way of looking at it. If I were to hold off an insurrection, would I want um would I want for my law enforcement to be overran by a bunch of people? Maybe. If I were to run an insurrection, um would I want my supporters to die? No, I wouldn't. Right? What the hell does that have to do with the price of tea in China? What the hell does that have to do with him getting shot at? Nothing. 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 You wouldn't be able to tell almost an entire security shift to take off. I'm saying once again is that we can start going down into these rabbit holes, and there's no telling where to end. Biden is bad, but do you feel Trump should win? I feel that whoever the American people vote for should win. There are weeks in advance they're interviewing people in the area. Look at all the vantage points. I lived in D.C. and Maryland. Let me tell you, any event that the president goes to, Secret Service is out. They're definitely out, right? They're definitely out. You're talking to somebody that has literally walked past Secret Service to be with the president. You're talking to somebody. You're me, right? I got proof. It's going to be sealed up like JFK. Oh wait, both presidents. Because when I had dinner with Trump, they saw that Kanye was in the car with me. Was like, all right, well, wave him in. That's literally how it happened. We pulled up. I forgot the lady's name, Catherine or Kathy or whatever. Uh, uh, she was driving. She was like, yeah, we're here for an appointment, blah, blah, blah. She was like, okay, well, we see your name. We see Kanye's name. Who's this guy? Oh, well, they're with him. All right, let's call back real quick. Oh, Kanye wasn't even on there. They just recognized him. Oh, okay. All right, we'll let him through. Simple as that. Simple as that. From the moment that we got there to the moment that they allowed us to go past was literally 2 minutes, if that. There's a 41% mortality rate for headshots, goes up to 74% if wound is isolated. Anyways, like I said, what does this mean? This means that there's going to be much greater security around the presidents, right? There's going to be greater security around the presidents. The next thing that it means is that there's going to be an even greater call for gun bans for gun bans and for an attack on the Second Amendment. One of the last things that we're going to see is that there is going to be a major restriction of freedom of speech. Mark my words, there's going to be a major restriction of freedom of speech. Why? There's a thing called, there was a program called Countering Violent Extremist Organizations. There was a contract that I worked on back in 2016 where they were focused on CVOE. Countering Violent Organizations and Extremists, or Countering Violent Extremist Organizations. Now there has been a focus on the program has shifted from that to countering violent extremism. Right? Now there's going to be a greater focus on this thing that we call domestic terrorism. Right? Jukai said, an attack on the Second Amendment is an attack on our ability to protect not only against tyranny, but crime. Very well. Absolutely. Now, why do I say that there's going to be, once again, I said gun bans, attack on the Second Amendment, then there's going to be a major attack on the First Amendment because the Second Amendment protects the First. And there's going to be a focus on domestic terrorism. All right? Let's see. The Second Amendment. Second Amendment, something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. Something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. Some of you guys have seen some of my gun videos. Some of you guys have seen me out with that. But I want to go. What does the Second Amendment say? A well-regulated militia, being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Once again, Second Amendment states a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What that means, or what it should mean, is that you as a citizen should always cannot be prevented from getting firearms. Some people might look at me like I'm crazy. Let's go into what the Second Amendment actually says. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Did you know that there are 3 capitalized words? Did you know that there were 3 capitalized words in the Second Amendment? Go look it up. Those words are militia, state, and arms. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means that there is a specific legal definition for militia. There is a specific legal definition for state, and there is a specific legal definition for arms. Point blank, period. If that thing is not, if those things are not defined in law, then therefore those are the things that it says shall not, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, meaning that you have a right to keep it and you have a right to bear it. I haven't seen the left asking for gun control. Instead, they're cheering. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Instead, they're cheering. It's crazy. It's crazy. On one hand, you have quote unquote liberals, and I hate utilizing those kinds of terms. I hate utilizing terms like the left. I hate utilizing terms like that because it boxes people into. It puts people into boxes when it's a much more contextual and nuanced definition of it, right? I say to you, I'm a quote unquote lefty liberal. I'm a lefty liberal. And I say that I want gun control. I want gun control. Why? Because people are going to kill people with these guns, and these guns are dangerous. Yet I'm cheering because someone I don't like just got shot at. How can you like that somebody that you don't like got shot at, but don't like firearms and don't want nobody else to have it? But it's okay when it's against somebody that you don't like, but it's a problem when it's against somebody that you do like. That's what has gotten this country in so much trouble of not keeping, of not being intellectually honest and not being, not having integrity in the way that its laws are applied. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. How can you say that we shouldn't have these guns, but the moment that that gun is used against somebody that you don't like, now it's okay? That you're not someone that can be trusted because you don't actually have a standard. You have your feelings. You have your feelings. You don't have actual rules. And one of the major things that we have in this country is called the rule of law, meaning that we are a nation of laws, not mob rule. That's the difference between, see, we don't have a democracy. We have a constitutional republic. We elect our representatives. We elect our representatives through a democratic process. But we are not a democracy. Because if we were a democracy, then it would be majority rule. But we have rules. We have a rule. We have a rule of law. Somebody asks, when are you going to run for Congress? Crazy. I ran for United States Senate in the 2020 elections as an independent. So for those that are new to my channel, for those that are new to me, let me run a little bit about my background. So I was the youngest weapons systems engineer in the United States Navy's history. I started taking college classes at 11 years old. I started full-time at 14. I graduated at 19. I began working for the United States Navy as a weapons systems engineer. On the first day of my job, my boss walks up to me and says, "We work with weapons of mass destruction. Is that okay with you?" The system that I worked on is currently the system that has been shooting drones down in the Red Sea. So let's put some context to what I'm saying. After that, after working for the U.S. Navy for about 5 years, and one of my missions was I had to go over to Korea when Kim Jong-un was launching his first ballistic missiles. I was part of that special response team that was sent there. I left the Navy after about 5 years and went to law school at Southern University Law Center, where I was involved in human rights and also civil rights cases. I also went and got my MBA while I was there. I worked for the Department of Justice at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Western District of Louisiana. I worked for the Louisiana Senate Bureau, helping to write legislation. I wrote legislation on police militarization and protests. So all the protests that we've been seeing in 2014 and 2016, Mike Brown, Tamir Rice, the 2020 protests with George Floyd, that was my research. I'm an expert in that. Fast forward, when the protests were going on in Shreveport, I was involved in that. Once again, this is coming from this is analysis. This isn't me just talking. This is analysis. So when I start talking about the Second Amendment and our constitutional rights, I was a public defender. It was my job to understand and know the Constitution. I was a little different. I wanted to be a constitutional law scholar while I was in law school. So I took the hardest professors to make sure that I understood what the Constitution actually meant and what the Constitution actually said. So to understand, hey, when the Supreme Court gets it right and when I feel that they got it wrong. And particularly with the Second Amendment, the Supreme Court has gotten it wrong. Why? Because most gun control is rooted in racism. Did you know that a majority of the gun laws that we have today, were passed during the Reagan era? And particularly, they were passed in California, at least, when the Black Panthers showed up onto the steps of the California Capitol. Before then, did you know that you can order rifles out of the Sears magazine? Did you know that? Did you know that you could have guns delivered to your door before that? No, you didn't know that. That's the thing. Much of gun control is rooted in racism. The 1994 crime bill, the assault weapons ban, was in 1994 as well. And guess what? They were worried about young black children, young black boys running around with firearms. Sure did hold up enough to remember. I really didn't see anything wrong with it. Once again, Going after the Second Amendment is a problem because the Second Amendment protects the First. The Second Amendment protects the First Amendment. What do I mean by that? Your freedom of speech. The only thing that keeps your government from violating your laws, violating your rights, is you being able to have an equal and or opposite force against that. I'm going to speak my mind, but let's say the government doesn't like what you have to say. All right, well, that's fine. I'm going to still talk, right? I'm going to still talk. Harry Truman says, speak softly, but carry a big stick. Well, that's why they call them sticks. This isn't a real stick, but they call them sticks. That's why they call guns sticks. That's the big stick. I'm going to speak softly. I'm going to still speak my mind, but carry a big stick. There is going to be a major call for gun control in this country, and that is a dangerous thing. It also, they said, well, that is also biased against certain people. Once again, that you're dealing, people are biased. People are going to have their biases. If we recognize that and understand that and respect that, we will not be surprised by the things that happen. We won't. We won't be surprised by the things that happen. Okay, I put in a law. I expect for it to be dealt with fairly. How do I ensure that somebody deals with me fairly? Okay, well, if you know that you don't deal with me fairly, that I will have people stand outside with firearms, making sure that I'm treated fairly. Guess what you're incentivized to do? Treat me fairly. Now, others can say that would be intimidation, which I'm going to get into, which is why I say the attack on the Second Amendment is going to make it easier for them to charge people with domestic terrorism. That is where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. That is where we're at right now, at this moment. I have been saying, people have been talking about, civil war and this, that, and the third. I talked about civil war being a real possibility. I just did a video on it a couple days ago. But when I was in law school in 2013, I said that civil war is coming to this country in about 10 to 15 years. Robert Johnson said, I'm more worried about corrupt judges in our system than anything. You should be. You should be. All right, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to loop in the gun advocacy and the Second Amendment. I'm going to loop in political violence and domestic terrorism. And I'm going to go I'm going to tie that into civil war. All right, so watch this. Be ready for it. All right. There is a thing called domestic terrorism. What is domestic terrorism? Let's pull up the definition that I just had. But for those that want to follow along, it is 18 U.S.C. 2331, Section 5. And it says, Section 5 says, the term domestic terrorism, hold on, y'all, gotta let the dog out. There she goes. The term domestic terrorism means activities that A, involve acts dangerous to human life that are a violation of the criminal laws of the United States or any state. Bam. 2, appear to be intended to either intimidate or coerce a civilian population. 2, influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion, or to affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping, and occur primarily within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States. Do we have that? Domestic terrorism involve acts dangerous to human life that are a violation of the criminal laws of the United States, of any state. Bam! I'm shooting a gun in a crowded area. That's an act that's of dangerous to human life and a violation of criminal law. Bam! That's met. And it appears to be intended to what? Intimidate or coerce the civilian population? Influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion? Maybe not. Or 3, to affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction? Assassination. Do we have an assassination? An assassination attempt? Yes, we do. Did it happen within the United States? Yes. So what this man did, Thomas Matthew Crooks, can be considered domestic terrorism. But wait. What if you didn't try? What if you didn't cause mass destruction? Or let's say you did cause mass destruction, like the protest that happened in Portland. Wait, it involved acts that were dangerous to human life. Maybe you threw a rock. That's dangerous to human life. Oh, what did it appear to be intended to? To affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction. All those people can be charged with domestic terrorism. That is what I'm trying to get people to understand. That is where we're at right now. And it's not because of what Trump did. It's not because of any of that. It's what happened is now you have a government that is trying to seize more control, and it does not matter whether it's a Democrat or it's a Republican in office. That's what I want us to understand. It has nothing to do with the party. Just one party is good at showing, hey, at one party shows their hand and another one acts like they don't have nothing, but really hits you upside the head when it's all said and done. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is about power. It has nothing to do about party. Why is it about party? Because you would find out that there are very powerful and wealthy people who fund both sides. Gotcha. It's just the regular common folks that they try to get fighting against each other, so that they don't recognize that the real thing that's going on is about power and control. You think that the Democrats are trying to control you. They think that the Republicans are trying to control you. No, it's powerful and rich people who are trying to control you. Actually they're just trying to control the government, because the one person that you can't fight against is the government. Why can't you fight against the government? Oh, because the government can put you in jail when you don't pay your taxes. Oh, you guys didn't know that the United States government has like the biggest piggy bank? You guys didn't know that? You guys didn't know that some of your favorite companies get funded, they get grants by the federal government? Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, you guys didn't know that like Elon Musk and his companies got funded through billions of dollars of government grants? Where do those grants come from? Yo, tax dollars, dummy. Our tax dollars. The government's money is our tax money. That's what I'm saying. There are rich and powerful people who have access to the government and have access to the people who control the purse strings of this of our nation. Kai asks, "Do you think America is buyable like America bought other lands?" Absolutely, 100%. We're watching it right now. Ever heard of a country called Israel? Every politician makes sure that Israel gets money every year. Why? There's an organization called AIPAC, as well as other organizations that pay Congress people. They make donations to their political action committees. They make campaign donations, right? They make campaign donations to these particular candidates, and that the candidates are saying, oh, okay, let me hear what you have to say. How can I advocate for you? You're helping me, so I'm here to represent you, and I'm here to help you. How can I help you? They say, hey, we have a country over here that we want to help, and we want to make sure that they're surrounded by all their enemies, and we want to make sure that they have all the guns and bombs and missiles and planes that they need to protect themselves. Oh, of course, we'll make sure that they get everything that they need. We're so thankful. We're so thankful that you're funding our campaign and making sure that I stay in office. We have legalized bribery and corruption here in America through the political donation process. This is what I'm trying to get people to understand. So there are rich and powerful people who are in control of this country, who are in control of the media. Oh, let me show you how it works here too. So those same companies that buy off our politicians through political donations, they also buy media spots. They buy advertisements on the television, right? They buy advertisements on the television, so they always keep it in our face about, hey, buy Coca-Cola, buy a Tesla, and nothing against Coca-Cola or Tesla. I'm just using them as examples. Buy their company, buy their products, buy their products. Why? Because that keeps them rich and that keeps them powerful. Oh, guess what they also get to do? They also get to put more money towards messages that they want the people to hear. The reason why we have TV, TV is paid for by advertisements. So when they find a message that people will listen to, when they have a message, that's why they have marketing. They find what people will respond to. Oh, people respond to hating Trump. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to put a lot of stuff on that. We're going to have a lot of commentary about hating Trump, because that's going to get people to watch. And when they start watching it, that makes sure that that our advertisements and our commercials are seen. So when they see our commercials, they'll want to buy our products. And when they buy our products, they make us richer. This is how the game is played. This is how the game is played. Diana, thank you for sharing this all with all your friends. This is how the game is played. So, gun bans. Gun bans. What's my position on gun bans? What is my position on gun bans? Whatever the police are able to have, you as a citizen are able to have. You should be able to have. So if the police have 50 caliber sniper rifles, if they have assault, if they have assault rifles, if they have automatic rifles, you as a citizen should be able to have that too. Why do I say that? Why do I say that? People are like, that's crazy. Why would you advocate for something like that? If it's good for the goose, then it's good for the gander. The police are no different than you and I. What do I mean by that? According to the Constitution, the Constitution applies to everyone, regardless if you're a police officer or regardless if you're a regular citizen. It applies to everyone. You know where the only other different set of law that we should have in the United States, that we have in the United States, is called the Uniform Code of Military Justice. That the military, the people who are in the military, that they are only subject to. So, if the Constitution says a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Once again, go and read it. The Second Amendment, there's 3 words that are capitalized, meaning that they are proper nouns. So when they're proper nouns, that means that there is a specific legal definition for it. Militia, state, and arms. That's my point. So if the police are able to have it and they're citizens underneath the Constitution just like me, then I should be able to have it. Especially since the Constitution says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So should the people have an AR-15? Yep, if the police are able to have it. Somebody hating on me. Somebody hating on me on my TikTok. Let's see. Like I said, Second Amendment. The Second Amendment. We talked about the protests. And how the protests, which is part of your First Amendment right, can be considered domestic terrorism. Why is this being treated differently than January 6th? Ronald Lee, please, please clarify. I want to be able to answer that question. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna open it up. If you want to join on the live real quick and give some of your thoughts, I'm gonna go ahead and open it up. I'm gonna answer some questions. I'm gonna answer some questions. But once again, we are in a state. We are in a state right now where protests can be considered domestic terrorism based off of the definition of it, and the challenge of it is, when it's for something that you want, when it's something that you want, it's just a protest. When it's for something that you don't like, now all of a sudden it's domestic terrorism. And anytime that you have a situation like that where it's based upon who's there, it's based upon mob rule, then you no longer have a nation of laws. You have mob rule. Let's see. Yes, why is this being so different than January 6th? Help me understand your question. I want to make sure that I understand the question and not take it from what I think you're saying, but I want to actually know exactly what it is that you're saying. People are saying, "Hey, I'm not for violence." I don't think that I don't necessarily think that we have that particular choice anymore. I don't think that we have that choice anymore. Rhonda Maloney, thank you for sharing it with everybody. Let me go through and answer some of these questions. Let's see. Oh, Civil War. I didn't talk about Civil War. It is easier. Anybody heard of we'll sell the bullets and we'll also sell the bandages? Thank you, Mark K, for sharing this, for sharing the live. We'll sell the bullets and we'll sell the bandages, meaning that we fund both sides, that we don't have an interest in the conflict. We have an interest in making money from the conflict. We don't have an interest in taking the sides. We have interest in making money from the sides. You might look at me crazy thinking that how could it get that? What makes you think Civil War? Because people are going to be so caught up on a side that they miss that this is about power and that this is about money and influence. They're going to think that it's about ideology. The same way that many of us get distracted by racism, when many of the issues that we have are rooted in classism. That doesn't say that, I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. What I'm saying is that classism provides they say race determines the enemy, class determines the weapons used. And I'm now challenging that because it is a class issue when it is the 1% versus the 99%. But it is easier to make the 99% believe that it is about race, because if the 99% recognize that the 1% don't give a damn about them and don't care about them, then the 99% would be like, hey, I got more in common with you as the 99%er than I do against you. Mark K asks, do you think the military would go against the American people? That is a good question. That is a good question. No, I do not. The two things that I think that the major issues that... What are the issues that I think is going to be a catalyst for civil war here in America? The issues that are going to be the catalyst for it is police nationalism. So everybody that has that stupid, retarded police flag, police nationalism, and illegal immigration. And those are going to be the main catalyst of it. American troops can't be used on U.S. soil. National Guard is another thing. Laws are meant to be broken, sir. Laws are meant to be broken. And you're correct in that they cannot be used according to United States law, particularly the Posse Comitatus Act, which is one of the reasons why the Third Amendment is here, where the Third Amendment says no soldier shall be quartered in the homes of his people during peacetime. I can make the argument, and it's kind of a stretch, that if you say homes of the American people, you say homes of the American people, you can say that they're neighborhoods, they're neighborhoods where they live, where they abide in, and that SWAT officers, because they look like the military, they have military training, and they operate like the military, that they can be considered soldiers. M. Taylor said National Guard or state employees. That's halfway true. The National Guard has two bosses. The National Guard can be activated by the president, but the somebody just flagged me on TikTok. Y'all some haters. Whoever did that. The National Guard has a dual mandate that they can be called upon by the president. However, it is the government who has to authorize them for use. Absolutely. They're state and federal employees. That's the thing about it. They have dual. January 6th was the Secret Service. Where was the Secret Service then? The Secret Service actually prevented Trump from going to the Capitol. That's the crazy part. That's why he was cussing out the Secret Service, because he wanted to go to the Capitol and they wouldn't let him go. Yeah. I'll answer you guys this question. You're spreading total propaganda, and now was following you until then. Go ahead, Robert Johnson. What total propaganda? What total propaganda? I'd love to hear it. What total propaganda was I giving? Thank you everybody for joining. Once again, police nationalism is a major issue. Why? For me, when I started working for the federal government as a weapons systems engineer for the United States Navy and the United States Department of Defense, I swore an oath to defend the Constitution from enemies both foreign and domestic. Right? Anytime that you take a flag, I don't know if you guys have seen the flag, and I can't show it to you right now on all the different platforms. But if you've ever seen, it's a black and white flag. It looks like the United States flag, but it's got a blue line running through the middle of it. If you guys have ever seen that flag, that is known as the police flag, right? That is flag desecration. Flag desecration is defined as, hold on, let's get to the law real quick. Flag desecration is defined in 18 USC Code, 18 USC, which is United States Code, Section 700. Whoever knowingly mutilates, defaces, physically defiles, burns, maintains on the floor or ground, or tramples upon any flag shall be fined under this title or in prison for not more than 1 year. Okay, cool. Let's look at that. Let's look at what Louisiana's definition. All right, defaces. Can that be considered defacing the flag? Yes. No. What does the definition of deface mean? Deface, spoil the surface or appearance of something by, for example, by drawing or writing on it. Is changing the colors of the United States flag defacing it? Is that spoiling the surface or appearance of something? Once again, police nationalism. Why do I think police nationalism? Because it is a us or them kind of mentality when it comes to law enforcement a lot of times. And this is coming from somebody who has helped people become police officers. I've raised this issue with some of my police officer friends of like, I have a big issue with that flag. I have a real big issue. Because what does a flag do? A flag says, this is the side that I choose, right? The same way that people get pissed off when people are showing the Israeli flag or they're showing the Palestinian flag. They're like, yo, like, you're an American, or whose side are you on? Same kind of concept. So, let's see. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? What questions do y'all have? What questions do you have? I'm answering questions all right now. What's up, Beyond the Headlines? What's going on, Marv Simmons? What's going on, Nola family? What's up? What's up, Healed, Healthy, and Happy? What's going on, Prince Everything? What's happening? What's going on, Mark K? Aim Shapiro, thank you for the support. I appreciate you. Let's see what we got here. Let's plug my stuff in. I've been on here for about an hour. Flag scream patriotism. Absolutely. Absolutely. Lets you know whose side you on. And when you got police officers making up their own flag, it's like saying, hey, whose side are you on? Let's see. So yeah, thoughts on people turning the flag to distress. Anytime that you do something and you don't make a good reason for doing it, it loses its meaning, it loses its importance. So when you fly a flag upside down, that is supposed to be the national, a national symbol for a person being in distress. So if I'm unable to communicate to the outside world, at least I can let people know through an upside down flag that I'm in trouble, that I need help. I just think that this country's in a world of trouble. Once again, this has been like the last time that we had a debate between two candidates who had not been given the official nomination of their party. Was, I think the last time was during Ronald Reagan. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff that's going on during this particular election that hasn't been done in a long time. This is the first time, think about that. This is the first time that in a millennial's lifetime that you've been able to vote for a president who was shot at. Sir, question, what's your thoughts on the young man walking around with a rifle prior to? I think that's a failure on local police, a failure on Secret Service and any other law enforcement agency that was there. Particularly, there was a failure of coordination. Major failure of coordination, because think about it this way. I just want you guys. I hope you guys are understanding. Like, there's more to this. There's more to the story. Think about it this way. You're a police officer, and somebody's telling you that there's a man on the roof. But this is your post. You're not supposed to leave your post unless you have a damn good reason, right? Unless you have a damn good reason. Or you're not supposed to leave your post until you've been relieved, right? Now, all of a sudden, somebody's telling you, hey, there's somebody on the roof, blah, 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 with a gun, and you need to do something about it. Okay, I got to radio that in to somebody for them to do something about it. Why? Because what if the person telling me that there's a person with a gun, they're only telling me that so that I can leave my post, so then that the attack can actually happen. You see what I'm saying? Like, you ever had your mama or your parents tell you, hey, you stand right here and you don't move from this spot, and something goes on and you end up moving from that spot, and when they go back, they're like, yo, I told you don't move from the spot. And you're like, well, such and such told me that I wasn't, that this was going on. And like, but I told you to stand here. I told you to stand here. Why? Because you just needed them to be able to, your parents needed you to be right there to catch something or see something, but you went off somewhere else when they knew to go over here in this particular area. So I'm just saying to you, like, think about it from that perspective. There's a lot more than what's going on. There's a lot more than what's going on. So I just want for people to, like, you gotta, that is why context is so important. When you've been in situations like this, you can understand how these failures might happen. You can understand why things go wrong, and you have an appreciation for organization. Blade Brown said, "I was scared to say that it was fake." I don't know that it was fake. I don't know that it was fake. I don't know that. I know this are the facts that happened, but I don't know that. And I'm not going to sit up here and I'm not going to get on here and say that. I'm not going to get on here and say that. You can say that and then you can sound crazy. You can sound crazy. You're scared to say it's fake. All right. Well, let's go down that rabbit hole. This shooting was fake and COVID was fake. Thanks. But something isn't adding up. I worked on the Space Center when a former president came. Absolutely. What I'm saying is that there are definitely things that we're not being told, right? That we aren't being told. And then there's just certain things that they're not going to tell us, right? That they're not going to tell us. Juan said Secret Service didn't allow us near. You're talking to somebody that walked past Secret Service while the president was in Japan. I went through all the screening and all of that. So when I tell you it's things can work and things can fail. Jennifer said, "Tell that man to the man that died and his family." Thank you. Right. That's like when Alex Jones was saying that, oh, the kids that died in the Newtown massacre were crisis actors. What? Tell that to that man's family. Oh, that it was fake. That it wasn't real. Do you hear how stupid that sounds? Do you hear how stupid that sounds? Oh, Juan, absolutely going to be civil. Absolutely. What do I have to gain? What do I have to gain by being nasty? And this is the question I ask everybody. What do you have to gain by being nasty? All you're just going to prove to the other side is that I can't talk to this person. And you might as well want to be able to get what the other side is thinking. Wouldn't that be nice to know what the other person is thinking? Somebody that you might disagree with, what they might be thinking? You might learn something that you didn't know. You might get a perspective that you didn't have. That would inform and better clarify your perspective. So, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, any other questions? Any other commentary? If you want to join, if you want to join, holla at me, request it. I'll bring you on. I'll bring you on for a little bit. We'll talk, and we'll go on there. Truth, we might be on different sides, but showing we can be civil. Absolutely. It's sad we can't actually have conversations without the hate. Yeah, that is unfortunate. It is very unfortunate. Very, 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 very unfortunate. But why? Why are we able to do that? Because people are in their feelings and not in their facts. Are we talking facts or are we talking feelings? This is what I used to tell my students when I taught political science. Oh, that's another thing. I taught political science at Southern University, Shreveport. Are we talking facts or are we talking feelings? Because I can say, well, I feel like this. I feel like this. Okay, well, what are the facts that you have to substantiate that? Right? Well, I feel like it was a setup. Okay, well, why do you feel like it was? Why do you feel like it was staged? Because how did Secret Service not know all that? Okay, is Secret Service perfect? No. Okay. Has people been killed underneath Secret Service protection before or been shot at before? Yes. I think that's why we can't come together. Feelings get in the way. Man, try having an argument with your significant other. It's going to take one person that's logical, that's thinking straight. And that's what I'm providing. That's what I'm providing is context, thinking straight, being able to have a conversation, being able to have conversation about that. Jennifer, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Anybody want to give their thoughts? You're more than welcome to come up on. But yeah, I'm going to be sharing this on, it's going to be on TikTok, it's going to be on YouTube, and it's going to be on Instagram. So we're live streaming on all three right now. So to wrap everything that I said earlier, talked about the Secret Service and the failures in their training. With Hey, Mark, one, it don't matter what side you guys is on. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It doesn't matter what side you're on. You should be on. You know what? It does. The side that you should be on is on the side of reason. So, we talked about the Secret Service and how when you are training is much different than real life. Let me get. Oh, I have another example. I was trained in T triple C, right? T triple C, which is tactical casualty, basically first aid when you're under fire, right? First aid when you're under fire. Um, Unless you're training and you're training all the time, and got it locked in your mind, and then are able to be in a situation that's very stressful, um, you have to learn how to not panic and still do your job. Has anybody watched their child choke on something? Anybody been around somebody that's choked on something, and you're trying to figure out how to do the damn Heimlich? Everybody's panicking, and you're trying to figure out if somebody can help. Same concept. Secret Service, stress inoculation, and being ready for the stresses of when the real thing actually happens. Right? This right now, what has happened is going to be a training tool for the next 10, 15 years. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Next, lapses in operational security and in their operational plans. 3, coordination difficulties and coordination and communication difficulties amongst state police and their other law enforcement partners with the Secret Service. It happens. It happens. The aftermath, the fact that Trump didn't have fear in his eyes, right? The fact that didn't have fear in his eyes, and that he was able to get down and get back up. I don't know if I don't know if I don't know I don't that inspires confidence. That inspires confidence. Um, we're going to see gun bans. We're going to see gun bans. So, right now would be the time to go and purchase ammunition and purchase whatever firearms that you need and need. Oh, Beth Salee said, "Get over it. Vote blue." Hey, if that works for you, you should vote your interest. If if the Democratic Party is delivering for you and delivering on their promises for you, like, you should. You absolutely should. You absolutely should. If they have the policies that you believe is going to make your life better, then absolutely. Me personally, I don't agree with gun bans if they don't apply to law enforcement as well. Um, the next thing, so we're going to see that there's going to be gun bans, which I believe is a bad thing. We're going to see more protests listed as domestic terrorism. And let me help you understand something. Political violence is domestic terrorism. Political violence, by definition, is domestic terrorism. What's up, Hustler? Now that they pierced his ears, we're having a ban. How about all the kids killed? Um, it's the the sad part about firearms is that they were designed to kill people. And so we should not be surprised when people are killed by firearms. That is the that's a real thing. It's a real thing. Like, that is a real reality. It's an unfortunate reality that we have to deal with. Um, and it's not just kids that are killed. It's old folks that are killed. It's adults that are killed. Innocent people are killed. Um, Guilty people are killed by guns. Like, that's what guns were designed to do. Um, the real part about it is that we do not trust each other as a people. In fact, we as Americans, we trust more in our criminals than we do in quote unquote good people. Why? Because we know that what bad people or criminals are going to do. We know that they're going to commit crimes. We know that they're going to do bad things. What happens is that we don't know when the person that we thought was good decides to do something bad. So when criminals do bad things with firearms, we expect it. When people we never thought do things with firearms, we're like, yo, I can't, I don't know what the next person is thinking, so I need to make sure that nobody has it. Just get over it. That's what your boss said. Don't you listen to him? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Um, that's the thing, is that we do not trust one another. We are afraid of each other's lower selves. We are afraid of good people going bad because that is much harder to predict. Point blank, period. And so, because we don't know when good people will go bad, we are trying to prevent something that we really can't prevent. If a good person wants to do bad things to a bunch of people, trust me, a gun ban won't stop them. Look at the Atlanta Olympics where they were utilizing pipe bombs. So that's something to think about. Something to think about. Joseph Parker, thank you for the heart. Appreciate you. Thank you for the likes, everyone. Any more questions? Any more questions? I think that's this lady, Katie Twice. Thank you for the rose. The best elite person just really showed why it's important for us to have conversations, because if you just come in saying, I don't trust any MAGAs and this, that, and the third, like, you're not entering into the conversation in good faith, right? And when we as a people recognize that our enemy is powerful people who wish to take away our rights, who wish to keep us enslaved, who wish to keep us in bondage, then you'll know who to fight against. Absolutely welcome. Absolutely welcome. Thank you, Katie, twice. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for everything, everyone. So I'll have more to say about it in the very near future. But if nobody else has any more questions, I'll uh, I'll go ahead and close this out. Look into BlackRock. God bless Trump. 611. BlackRock is a major. Are they a hedge fund or are they private equity? They're asset management. Let's put it like this: they're an asset management firm that owns stock in almost every company that's on the Nasdaq and on the stock market. But that's a topic for another time. Y'all stay safe. Y'all be blessed. Be civil. Remember, the only rights that you have are the ones that you exercise. So learn up on what your rights are and exercise every right. Don't allow anyone else to make you feel guilty or bad about exercising your rights. Y'all be blessed. Take care. Oh, read your Bible. Go read your Bible. Should start off with that. Go read your Bible. Y'all take care. Thank you, Khaleesi. Appreciate that.